minutes ago back when we sat down, you'll think about what you were going to say. And, well, basically, when I was sitting there, I've been thinking about what I was going to say. And me and God did right now. I think maybe he's on one. I have to put 30 years on with the Highway Patrol, and after 10 years of that, I was a supervisor, and I learned about trust and accountability from some of the finest law enforcement officers in this state. I thank you for this opportunity, and I know that y'all are paying close attention to the sheriff's race, and therefore my law enforcement background is what it is. But I'd like to talk to you just a moment and say to you about my weakness and my strength. My weakness is I'm certainly no stretch of an eloquent speaker. And I've had people get on to me and tell me that I don't talk as much as the guy in front of me or behind me, and that's a fact. But I've also thought about it like this. If you're going to hire a plumber, you don't really worry about whether he's an eloquent speaker. You wonder if he can fix your problem. And when your house gets broken into, you're not really concerned with how eloquent speaker the sheriff is. You want to know how well your problem is going to be responded to and how effective they're going to be. Well, when I'm talking, I'm not listening, and I do learn more when I'm listening than when I'm talking. The Lord didn't give me a silver tongue to talk with, but He gave me good hearing. And that's why I know that when I'm elected, if elected, I know that I'm going to have a system in place where I can listen to y'all's complaints, criticisms. So I can better serve the community, so I'll understand things better, so I can respond to your needs, to what you deserve and what you expect. But the one thing that's required to be a good listener is to have humility. And a lot of politicians, that gets lost on a lot of politicians. It gets lost on a lot of people. So, you know, in putting all this together in my mind, it's like the Allstate people, you know, they're the good hands, folks, but I want to be the good hands and the good ears sheriff, because if you can't listen to folks, you can't help them. Because a politician, when they're elected, they don't have all the answers to the problems. That's true. And most officials forget one thing. They are public servants when they're elected. They become public servants. And I pledge to you to be a public servant. You know, technology has come a long way with the Highway Patrol, like every agency. But without good, sound, accountable leadership, the technology won't get you very far. You got to have someone that is accountable for himself and hold other people accountable. Because if you don't have that, how can you really convince anybody of what kind of job you're doing if you can't stand on your own credit? So what I need to do is I need to ask you very much for your vote on June 12th, because I know I can help if given the opportunity, and I appreciate it.
Okay. Well, now, Don, since you didn't use all of your 5 minutes, you don't get any money back, though. So.
God can speak, He can tell you the rest of it.
Okay. This is a couple of questions that someone addressed specifically to you. One is, it says in speeches that you have given recently that you had said that you believe the deputies should back up the state troopers in Lawrence. Exactly how would this work out, and particularly how would this work out without creating friction between the departments? So if you could just tell the folks what you have in mind about that.
Well, to respond to that question, I have already been asked that question about third hand, that I had made that statement prior. And I've never made that statement prior, maybe started what confounded me a little bit. But as far as assisting, I mean, I believe that any law enforcement officer assists one another when needed. That's not to say to criticize them or take the lead, but they should assist if asked for assistance in particular. But I've been asked it before that I made that statement, and I don't ever recall making that statement.
Okay. Given recent reports of possible county vehicle abuses in the Sheriff's Department, what changes or policies would you make to correct the problem, if indeed it does exist?
Well, with today's economy like it is, it makes it even worse. I realize that it's tempting and it's cheaper to jump in that patrol car and go to buy low or across town or visit a friend, but bottom line is it's not fair to the taxpayer. If you're going to get in that vehicle, there should be a policy in place that requires you to be in uniform and go 1080 to the radio system, so if you're needed, you'll be available and you can assist in any kind of way needed. And plus, it protects the officer himself, really and truly, because if nobody knows he's out there and anything goes wrong, and he doesn't have time to notify anybody, nobody knows he's even out there. So it protects him just as well as it kind of makes things on the up and up. So if he's going to be in that vehicle, he's going to be 1080, he should be in uniform, and notify the dispatch so he can be available to help. And not just out there riding.
Okay. And this is one of the questions that was addressed to all the candidates for sheriff, and this was one that I asked of Mr. Brewer concerning the drug problem being so prevalent in the county, and what plan do you have to deal with it in particular?
I've crossed this county a lot too, just like all y'all officers in the audience have. I've talked with a lot of folks out here. I know that, I too know that manpower is limited, but I don't think the manpower utilized as efficient as it could be. I think that there's areas where you could utilize the manpower different times of the day, different shifts, move people around. The relationship, and I'm basing this though in what I firsthand know and talking with other officers and other agencies, there's not a strong working relationship between the interagencies in this county, and particularly the outside agencies of this county. There's not a working relationship. They have none. They have no trust. And this office here, I would need to utilize all the resources I have to the fullest that I have available to me. And I certainly would appreciate any resources offered to me from an agency next door or within this county to work hand in hand with me to help combat it. And those relationships need to be strong and trustworthy, and they're not there.
Then the other question that again was for all the candidates, it was about the underage drinking. Do you think that is a serious problem, and what would you do as far as working with others and helping to curtail or combat that problem? Well,
I'm not real big on this social media. I know there's some people that literally, I don't think they could survive without it. They have an addiction, I think. But between the social media, between running the advertisements in the newspaper, even if the sheriff's office somehow would pay for it, run advertisements in the paper, make appearances in schools, make appearances anywhere you thought you could maybe get your message across and let it be understood that you're going to hold the parents accountable, because a lot of parents don't realize, they just don't look at it serious enough. They think it's okay if they're 18 years old and they want to have their buddies over and they can have a few beers. They think it's okay to let them do that because they're there at their home in the backyard around the pool. They let these people drink and then let them leave. And they just don't really realize that they can be held accountable. I guess I would just try real hard to educate the folks to listen. You need to understand this is just as much your problem as it is when the officer may stop the individual or have an accident, hurt and kill somebody, that you're going to be held accountable. And I think maybe if you made more people aware that you're holding the envelope, maybe they would adhere to it a little better.